So you might be wondering what these are. Well, you've probably guessed. These are MSX Repro cards that I've been making over the past while. I've always wanted to make a few of these for myself, and I thought I'd show you what I've done here. So essentially, it's just a standard card, MSX card that will accept different EPROMs. So I have only 3 here, but this is an 2764 EPROM. This is an 8K ROM. This is a 27256. There should be a 128, which I don't have any of at the moment. And there's a 27512. So there's this would be 8K, this would be 16, 32 and 64Ks. So this accepts sort of everything, and you can select which type of EPROM you want to use via jumpers, and I have here an explanation of what the jumpers do. I will add, this is the first revision, the prototype if you will, but I will add the settings as well for the 64K. But I thought I'd show you how what I did and show you that thing working as well. I've already a few ROMs burned. You just burn a few MSX ROMs from an EPROM burner. There's a couple of things to do, especially for the 256 and above. Sometimes you need to swap the banks, but I'll show you all that. And yeah, so in the board you essentially need, well, you'll need at least a filter cap. This is a 104 cap or 100 nanofarad disc cap. These are there's no polarity on these, so you can put them anywhere you want. And you'll need a 100 microfarad 16 volt cap here, and this D plus. And you see, usually in caps you'll have that black bar with a minus sign. Well, this is your minus, so you put D plus on this side. The long leg is your plus. Come on, focus. Keeps getting out of focus. Anyway, so you put all these in, and this is what you end up with. And then you have 2 choices. So ideally, if you want to put this in a plastic case, you'll solder the EPROM straight onto it. It'll prevent the everything from being too big, and it won't fit into a case. This is kind of a test one. It won't fit into a case if I try to. So that's really all you do, and then you just solder. You save the wires from the caps that you've got, and you just solder them there. So it's probably the easiest and quickest and cheapest way to go about it. What I've done here, however, is a sort of a test board, and this is why I have these holes, so you can actually put these jumper things instead. And if you don't want to put them, you just use the legs from the caps that you've cut to create these jumpers. Some people put pads. It works as well, but it means you can't really do that and test and swap stuff on the fly. So for this, essentially, it allows me to change the jumper settings and put different ROMs in there, just to test that everything is working. So what are these jumpers? I'm gonna see if I can secure this phone on the crane and maybe explain a bit. Alright, so I wanted to show you, this is slightly a bit too bright. Anyway, so anyway, this is just the pinouts for different EPROMs. This is something you can get straight off the internet. It's a very handy sheet, but you can see that there's the 2764, this is one side, the 64 is here, the 128, 256 and 512. So you can see that the addressable lines A1 starts here, it's A1 to A7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and that's where it stops. There's no A12. So the 64 addressable lines, A12 is here, stops at A12. Okay, it's fair enough, we'll leave it at that. The 27-128 stops at A13, the 256 A14, and the 512 has A15 extra. Why this is important? Well, let me explain. So the memory you can access in EPROMs starts from A0. This is one pin. So one pin can be either 0 or 1. So we'll just say the maximum value for that pin is 1.
A1, we have 2 pins, so it can be 0, it can be, well, it can be 0, 0, sorry, it can be 0, 1, it can be 1, 0, or it can be max value 1, 1. So this value here is essentially 2. You can code 2, 1 being 0 and 1 being 2. This is 4 because we have 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, and 1, 1. So this is 4. And you can guess A2. This is 3 pins, and it can be maximum value of 1, 1, 1. And indeed, this goes up to 8. I'm simplifying here, but you'll forgive the simplification. All the way here for our first chip to A12. So this is essentially 12, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. It doesn't matter what the value is here, but essentially the 2764 is an 8K. This provides 8K of data, addressable data. If you add a pin, it's going to double the value, and now we're going to have 16K, and this is our 27128. A13, 32K. Sorry, A13, A14, A15, and this is 4K. And this is our 256, 27, 256 EEPROM 27, 512. But you can see what happens here by this is why I have the jumpers here, essentially, because by jumper, putting a jumper here, we can actually add a pin. This is the idea. You just enable these pins, or otherwise you just you set them to 1 or 0 depending, so that the computer knows exactly that it's not used. So this is what I'm doing here. By putting jumpers, I can just change them on the fly. So ideally with those cards, it'll be fixed. You just put an EEPROM and that's that, you're done. It's very handy for all the homebrew stuff that people are putting on the internet. This is exactly why I wanted these, because I sort of have all the games I really want on the MSX at this stage. I got a quite healthy collection. So for the homebrew stuff, this comes in very handy. So we're going to do that. I'm going to show you a couple of games, change the jumper settings, and play some MSX games. So there you go. I have my old trusty 8235. This is unfortunately a 15 hertz computer, so the games might be slightly slowed down, but for the purpose of a demonstration, it'll do just fine. I really love this machine though. It's just really cool. I love the Philips MSX in general. Although I use my MSX2 Plus, a Sony one, probably a lot more. So we got a 2764. I think I've put Frogger on this. I know it's not a homebrew, but that's the only game that I could think would be fun to show. This is an 8K game. There's not a lot of very good 8K games. At least not in the commercial versions. I'm sure there's a few nice homebrews, but I don't know them. If you know them, actually just put them in the comment. I'd love to test them. And for this game, we need to put jumper 9, 4, and 7 together. So 7 is here. We're gonna put 4 and 7, 9. There you go. 9 is here. This is all. I've put all the settings. By the way, I've put all the these settings. I've done another revision of this guy, including the 64, but all the settings are here. I've put the pinouts, the name of the pinouts, jumper names, and if you're curious, this will tell you exactly what all the jumpers do behind, what it ties, what with what. And the reason actually you don't want to put those jumpers as well is that it's going to be a bit tight in your case. It fits here, but that's okay. And ooh, come on, focus. And there you go, Frogger. By the way, this works for most, well, MSX ones up to 64Ks. Now you will find cards that are 128. I think Vampire Killer, Castlevania is that. Cards that are 256Ks and beyond that as well. This is not supported by
by this card. I think you need a different type of card after that, which I'll probably look into and I'll make in time. But for now, this is a sort of strictly limited to MSX games before 60k. Anyway, let's try another game. And here we're putting 256. Now I need to say a few words about this, but first let's set our jumpers. And 256, we need pin 1, 7 and 8. So pin 1. Now this was a really cool game. You'll forgive the refresh rate. Night. This is a homebrew, a recent homebrew. It's a pretty fun game actually. Here you play as this guy here, and you just need to light all the floors. It's quite well done. It plays really well. Again, I like the graphics. There's so many really cool homebrews on the MSX being made. This is why I wanted to make my own cards. Let me finish this. So once you've lit all these guys, you get a key. Actually, I was right on the key there. You can tell I've played this a bit. And you're off to the next level. Not sure what I can do about this refresh rate. This is inherent to this machine being 50 Hertz. Anyway, let's try a different ROM again. So here we have a 512 EEPROM, and 512 EEPROM, I think I need pin 6, 7, 8 and 9. The Cure was a winner of a deaf convention of sorts. Really cool game. What they've done with this, they've reused a lot of assets from Castlevania or Vampire Killer. You can see actually in the sprite movement. So you can jump. You got your whip here. Some of the sounds are directly taken from Castlevania. You get the keys. This is a longer whip, isn't it? This is your Vampire Killer. I was just going to show you, because you have to get in the castle. Oh, game over. Yeah, you've only got one life. It's quite a tough game as well. But it's actually a clone of Vampire Killer, for all intents and purposes. That has been remade for MSX1, and that's the interesting bit, because Vampire Killer was an MSX2 game, and not everybody can afford an MSX2. But this was made for MSX1. And it works quite well, and it's just as hard as you can see. Do you know what? I'm going to leave it here because I could be playing for a while, trying to watch this through my my phone. But there you go. So this is what this is for. These little things. So a couple of things you need to keep in mind when you're burning your own ROM, and I'm going to detach this guy. So for 8K ROMs, this is not a problem. For 128, this is not a problem, but it becomes a problem on some 32 and 64. So essentially, you need to swap And thank you Fab MSX for telling me about this, because I didn't actually know that. But you need to swap sometimes, not all the time. I didn't have to on the Homebrews. Oh no, that's not true actually. I had to on Night's Night, but not the Cure. Maybe it had been swapped. But you need to swap the some of the memory banks. So from 0000, you need to find an X editor. I use HXD. Find that on the internet. It's HXD hex editor. So from this to, what is it? Is it 3FFF? And the second bank is from 4000 to 7FFF. So this is one bank, and this is one bank. And essentially, you open your ROM in an X editor, and you select all the data from here, and then swap it with this data for here. So you might need to open two files. And you know what? We're going to do this on the computer right now. All right, this is a HXD. This is a shareware. You can donate. X editor. You can. There's a PayPal button. Mal Hearts, thank you very much for making this software. I've been using quite a bit. Anyway, so you just open your file. So we're going to take Night, which is the platformer puzzle thing we played. So you can see the memory is going from 000000 here down to 7FF. 7FF0. This is the starting here. This is 7FFF. The last one. So we're gonna take everything from 000 to 3FFF. So 3FF0 and 3FFF is here. We're gonna take all this. It'd be easier if I had a. Okay, we're gonna cut this. Nah, this should have cut everything. Yeah. And our file is only 3FF0, and we're just gonna paste insert at the end, and it should end. Yeah, there you go. So it ends again at 7FFF, and all our red stuff is our new. Yeah. So we've effectively swapped this ROM file. So you can save that and then burn that into your EEPROM with one of these guys. 7H, the JQ, or this guy, which is the one I use probably the most now these days. And this is what you get. You get to play games, homebrew games. I was going to show you as well. This is the second revision. So where I will include the 64 information. I've done a few things. I've extended the holes here so they actually fit in a proper box, custom box. I've used the specs, the actual specs from the MSX.org. You find a lot of the info on this, and it's a great website, by the way, great resource. MSX.org. And then what have I done? I've just simplified the text, the bottom, say which pin goes where, that kind of stuff. And yeah, there you go. This is the Gerber file or whatever it's called. And this is just a 3D view. This is easy EDA, by the way, and I'm ordering with JLC PCB. They don't sponsor the channel, but that's what I use. So I'm not trying to promote anything. It's just very, very, very handy for me. So there you go, guys. This is the MSX Repro card. Oh yeah. Oh, by the way, first version was flat. I've extended the tab here and makes it easier to extract from your computer, having an extra length, and it still fits in the card. In fact, you can have it much bigger to about here. So this is quite small and tidy. I know it looks like a skull as well. There's two eyes, the teeth. Yeah. Anyway, let's go back to our computer. There you go, folks. This is the MSX Repro card, the 8-bit Manshed Repro card for the MSX. Now the next question is what to do with these. Well, I don't want to offer repro games or burn games or that kind of stuff as a service to people, because these are not my games and I don't want to profiteer from anybody else's work. What I might do though is offer these just bare PCB for sale. It'll keep the cost down as well. You'll have to find the EEPROM, you'll have to burn it, you'll have to find the caps and that kind of stuff. But I mean, it can be done quite cheap, and if you have some equipment already, it's a handy one to have. So I might offer these. I don't know what a good price would be. Probably maybe $5 for a cart or something like that. Something, you know, tokenistic and minimal. What I will do as well is offer these to Patreons, people who support the channel on Patreon. Maybe I'll set up a system or a reward tier where I can send you like one cart or one PCB, not just these, but it can be some of the JAMA stuff that I've been making and plan on making more. But one or set, depending on the size of these, like per month, depending on the tier. That's what I might do as well. Offer these for sale. So I don't have a website for these yet. I might see if I can just rock up a small page or an Etsy page or something like that. I'll put the link in the description. If for now anyway, you can contact me directly. By the way, yeah, this is revision 1. Revision 2 will have the silk screen available here, and it will be available by the time you see this video, so you don't have to wait. Anyway, folks, thank you for watching. Don't forget, if you want to find me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that sort of stuff, there's a Discord server with like-minded folks who are they're great. They're full of advice and cool things that they do as well. And if you want to help the channel, or if you want to get these, there's a Patreon. Folks, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.